Hi, Marilyn Masseri here, back again for another episode of Conscious Awakening. I hope all of you have been well, doing great. I, for one, am just amazed at the wonderful high energies that are coming in, lifting us up to new awarenesses. It's just been phenomenal. So I am truly blessed to be here today with you to share something that I find personally to be very, very powerful in my life. And I was guided today to bring that awareness to you. What we're going to talk about is perspective. What is your perspective in life, for your life, for all of the things around you? It's very important to be aware of what your perspective is. What is perspective? Perspective is the way you see your life, the way you see the circumstances in your life, the way you see the people in your life. It's not about literally seeing them. It's about how do you perceive these things in your life? How do you perceive yourself? How do you perceive the situations and people? Perception is a perspective. It's very powerful once you realize what your perspective is. Then you can change it if you choose to. We talked about that earlier in an earlier episode. One of the best ways for me to explain it is if you have a painting and you have 10 different people looking at the same painting and you ask each individual what their opinion is or their perspective of that painting, you will get 10 different answers. Same thing with a circumstance or a situation or an experience. If 10 different people go through the same experience, you're not going to get the same explanation or the same feelings or the same emotions coming from each individual. They will have their own unique experience, even though the outer circumstances may look the same. For example, a divorce or an injury or a wedding. Every person has their own unique experience, and that is because of their own perception, their own perspective. So I was guided today to bring to you some personal stories that may help you understand how important it is to be aware of your perspective in your own life. My perspective is that I am continuously guided by angels and spirit guides around me. They guide me when needed. They bring information to me. They attract people into my life. They guide me to where to go to meet these people. And I've known this for a long time. I've felt this for a long time. And I've had an open communication with them for a long time. Because to me, my perception, my perspective, is that there is a very strong and powerful spirit life happening at the same time as our physical life. So there are many beings around us, many spirits, very loving spirits guiding us. It's the idea that we become aware of this, or for me personally, I became aware of this, and I opened the door to communication. I asked for their help. Because you see, even though each and every one of us as human beings have these guides and these angels around us all the time, they cannot interfere with our lives or enhance our lives even without us asking, because humanity was given the gift at the time of creation of free will. And if we don't ask for their guidance, they cannot go against our free will and just intervene. So opening the door simply means asking. Ask them to show themselves to you. Ask them to guide you to a certain situation or certain people or the next step in doing something. If you're at the crossroads and you're unsure of which way to turn or which way to go, ask for guidance. A lot of times the guidance will come in reading something. You'll ask and they'll show you, you'll see a billboard while you're driving and it'll click an answer to you, or you'll be guided to a specific book to read, or a song will come on the radio and the lyrics remind you of something. A person will come into your life and what they're talking about will enhance something that you've been thinking about, and they just confirmed it for you. I mean, our angels and guides, they speak to us in many, many different ways. Many different ways. But it's opening the door of communication. And ask, be specific in your intention when you ask, but also be open and aware to hearing the answer, to seeing the answer. It's all about perspective, all right? That's my perspective, and that's how I choose to live my life on a daily basis. Let me give you some examples of how they've helped me, very much have helped me in many, many ways. And I am the person I am today with their help, and I am so grateful. And I thank them every day as well. But I'm going to start when I was 37 or so, in that age group, 37, 38. I was raising my 4 young sons, ages 3 to 11 at the time, and I wasn't sure. I was kind of lost as to what to do to bring in an income that would help support them, that would support them. So I asked. I said, what can I do? Because at that time I had been a stay-at-home mom for many years, loved it, loved raising my children, my boys, and I needed an income at the time. So I asked my angels and guides to what can I do to provide for them? And it wasn't long after I got the idea of having a daycare, opening up a daycare, because my children were so young, I didn't want to leave them with anyone to go out to a job just to make enough money to pay a babysitter. And I didn't want to leave them because they were so young. So this gave me the opportunity to watch other families' children and have mine at home at the same time. It was wonderful. It provided all of the needs that I needed, and it was just, the doors were open. I asked around and people brought their children, and I did this for 3 years. It was really quite beautiful. But after 3 years, I decided that I wanted to ask their help for opening the doors to something new, something different. My youngest had started school, and I was now able to go outside the home with a little more confidence that they were in school and they were okay, and that it was my turn now to go out into the world and venture outside of the home. So I asked my spirit guides and my angels, what can I do? And a thought came to me. Actually, flyer, very soon after I asked, a flyer came in the mail about a college. They were advertising some of their curriculum. And I saw something on there that triggered an interest. So I called, made an appointment, and I went down and talked with the young man who was the counselor at that time, who was the counselor that I was assigned to. Told him about what I was interested in. And you know, our angels and guides, they are so amazing. They teamed me up with this young man who was the counselor there. He was so amazing. He was so honest with me. He says, you know, I understand your situation raising these 4 young boys. I'm going to be honest, he said. This career that you're interested in, he said, really doesn't pay very much. And you won't be able to really be comfortable working full-time even with this because it just doesn't pay very much. He said, but let me guide you to something in similar, I was guided to the medical field. He said, let me steer you in a different direction and just see if you're interested. So he brought me some brochures. He showed me some information. He said, go read this information and see if it's right for you. So that's exactly what I did. I took his advice. I went to the library at that time, it was many years ago, but I went to the library and I looked up some information about this different career, and I found that it was very interesting, and I really, truly felt guided that it would be right for me. So again, I was like, okay, now I found something I'm interested in. How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to go to college and get this degree without having the funds to do so? So I went back to this young man, this counselor at the college, and he said, let me help you with this. Again, he was totally guided, this experience. He helped me fill out this paperwork that would allow me to get the income that I needed to help pay for the college. I went for 3 years, graduated with an associate's degree in this field that I entered, and all of the finances were taken care of. It was an amazing experience. I was so totally grateful for the way it all fell into place. 3 years it took me. I was open to doing side jobs with some friends who had businesses, and was able to make some money at the time while I was going to school, raising the boys. And I asked, as it was getting closer to graduation time, that, now it's time for me to find a job, a career in the degree that I just earned. And again, amazingly, of course, they are so awesome, guided me to an externship position where the supervisor at this particular hospital was leaving and going to another hospital, and asked me if I would be interested in going to work for her, because her and I really clicked. It was an amazing experience, and I said absolutely. Long story short, got that job within just a short time, and I loved it, absolutely loved the experience. It was wonderful. The only thing that I wanted to change about that job was how far away, distantly, how far away in miles it was for me to get there every day. And having these young kids at home still, I had to leave very early in the morning to get there on time. And I had to leave the young ones to get ready themselves in the morning, which they were old enough to do that, and their school was only a block away, so I was confident in them. I encouraged them to be responsible and independent, and they were. Again, another blessing. But the angels heard me. They heard my request, and it didn't happen overnight. Actually, I worked at this one job for 8 months when, again, out of the blue, okay, but I know it was their help and their guidance. One of the ladies that I had gone to school with, she was in all of my classes, or most of them anyway, she was leaving a position at a place that was only 2 miles from my home. And she asked me if I would be interested in taking her place, as she was going to work at a place that was closer to where she lived. And she said she already talked to her boss about me. She said all I had to do was go down and fill out an application and take one of the entry exams that were needed at the time, and it was all set. Just like that. I mean, it was amazing. I went down there, I filled it all out, talked with the supervisor, and was hired within a week or two. It was amazing. 2 miles from my home. 2 miles from my home. It all fell into place. Of course, I had to do the steps. I had to take the steps. I had to do the action part of it. But I acted when I was guided to. That was my perspective. I perceived the spirit world was helping me. I perceived in my life that everything would fall into place when it was meant to fall into place. I had that awareness that I was being taken care of by my guides and my angels. It's something that I just know. I know without a doubt. I'm confident in that. And I truly am appreciative of their help. So again, I got this amazing job and was so happy to be just 2 miles away. It was convenient, it was wonderful, I loved the experience, and the boys, I was closer to home so that I didn't have to spend as much time in the car traveling anymore. So another example of how the spirit guides work and how perceiving things differently can really affect your life is in the year 2000, a group from the church that I was attending they were planning a trip, a cruise actually, to Alaska. And I had been working now. I got the job and had created a wonderful income, but it wasn't, like Alaska, a cruise. How can I leave the boys for a week? It was a week-long cruise. And it was like, but I really want to go. I really, really, really wanted to go. How could I afford it? It was quite a bit of money at that time, and I wasn't sure if I could really go. So I asked my spirit guides and my angels that if I am meant to go on this vacation, show me a sign. Bring me something that will show me that if I ask for this, it will all happen. It will manifest. Because it was my perception, my perspective, that they would hear me and they would answer me. Do you know, it was either that day or the very next day, but it was a very quick response. I got a magazine in the mail, and on the front cover was Alaska, the frontier. And it was all about Alaska, and it was about taking a cruise to Alaska. Now, it wasn't the cruise that I was going to be with, from the church, but it was about a cruise. It was amazing. That was my sign. That was my confirmation to yes. Put my intentions into going, affirm that I am going on this cruise. I didn't know how. I didn't know how I was going to get the money yet, but I knew that I was going on this cruise. So I asked for their help to manifest it. So I researched it more, got more information, and found out that by a certain date, I had to have a deposit. $500 needed to be deposited to hold my space, to hold my cabin on the cruise. So I said, okay, guys, I need $500 by this date. I don't know where it's coming from, but you do. And I let it go. I just let it go. My perception of the angels was that they would take care of it. Somehow, some way, I would get the money to put the $500 down for this trip. Do you know it was like a week or two later, I got in the mail, it was an insurance policy that I had canceled a couple months prior to that. Because I had been working now, I didn't need that outside insurance. I was getting insurance through my employer. Well, I had forgotten all about that I had canceled it. They had refunded me, yes, $500. I received a check for a $500 refund. It was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Exactly the amount I needed, exactly when I needed it. It was perfect. So I put the money down, and then I asked, okay, guide me to how I'm going to pay for the rest. And I was putting little bits of money away each time, because this was like a year in advance I was planning this, some time. So I had time to plan for it, and I was saving for it. And by the time the money was needed, it was there. I went on the cruise. It was an amazing experience. I'll never forget. Had a wonderful time, and I was meant to be there. It was just uplifted my spirits, brought me new awarenesses. It brought me just an amazing, amazing experience that I will treasure forever and ever. So again, because of my perception that the angels would guide me, that everything would fall into place, I had no doubt that I was going on this cruise. And things continually happen over and over and over for me. Continuously, even now. I mean, this was quite a while ago, many years ago, but ever since then, I just ask and I'm guided. I've built my business the same way. In 2003, opening up to learning Reiki, and how that all fell into place, and how slowly different classes I was guided to take, and information that was coming to me. And I read, and I listen, and I'm open to awareness. And it's just a very powerful, powerful thing in my life. But it's my perception of how my life unfolds. It's my perception on how I live my life. Now, take that same scenario with the cruise. I could have, when I heard about the cruise, I could have said, oh, there's no way I can go. There's no way. I just started this new job. How am I going to get off of work? I've got these kids. What am I going to do with the kids? Where am I going to get the money? I'll have to pass. There's no way I can do this. That would have been my perception. That would have been my reality. That would have been what I manifested. I would have manifested not going on the trip. Done. End of story. But I had a different perspective. I changed it to show me if this is right for me or not. I was open. I didn't close the lid on the box immediately and say, I can't do this. So in many experiences in life, it's the same thing. Don't close the lid on the box right away and say, no, there's no way. Leave the box, leave it open. Be open to new possibilities. Be open to new things coming in, to being guided on how, if you truly desire something, how it can come to pass, how it can come into your life. Be open. Keep that lid open. It's amazing. So, again, perception. Let's say there's someone in your life that is, you might call a difficult situation, a difficult relationship. Maybe they're not behaving in the way that you would like them to behave. There's a lot of that going around right now. But you know, if you focus on what you love about that person, and even if it's just one little thing, even if it's one little thing you can find, focus on that. Be grateful and send them love and blessings. It will change your perspective of who they are. They're going through the same things you're going through. We're all going through this, what's called an upgrade in frequencies. Things are shifting, things are changing. We're all going through this together. But we are all going through it with the perspectives that we have. And everyone has a different perspective. So someone else's perspective may be totally different than your perspective. But in appreciating that they're going through this just like you're going through this, just like I'm going through this, shift. If you see them as they're doing the best they know how to do, with the awareness that they have, with the perspectives that they have, your perspective does not have to match theirs. Don't expect them to match yours. Go into your own self. What is your own perspective? And take a look of what is within you. Because it's really not about the other person. This shift is about you. It's about me going into myself, finding my perspectives, my understanding of things, my awareness, and becoming the best person I can be, the most loving person I can be, the most compassionate person I can be, the most peaceful person I can be, the most high energy person I can be. High energy meaning love energy. Love, unconditional love, is the highest and purest frequency around. that exists anywhere in the universe. It's this connection with divine source. It's my responsibility to stay connected. It's my responsibility. No one else's responsibility. So when I know that, and that's my perception, that's my perspective, that it's me responsible for me, and no one else is responsible for me, it is that perspective that helps me go within, to go deeper, to do some healing work, to do some shifting in my thoughts, to do some shifting in my awarenesses. That if I'm not being my highest and greatest in any given moment, that it's my responsibility to shift that. It's not anyone else's responsibility. So if you take that perspective and perception and understand that it's not anybody else's responsibility to make you happy. It's not anyone else's responsibility to bring you joy, to support you, to encourage you, or to do anything with you or for you. It is your responsibility and yours alone. That's a totally different perspective than as if you expect someone else to make you happy. You may expect someone else to do what you want them to do to make you happy. It's not their responsibility. It's not their responsibility to make anyone happy but them. And it will change the way you see things. It will change your total experiences in life. It will bring you more centered and grounded into yourself and become responsible for yourself. It works for me. I'm sharing with you what works for me. My life has been amazing. My life continuously unfolds. I've had so many beautiful experiences and continue to have beautiful experiences, vacations and trips, and experiences with people that I've never met coming into my life, and I see them as a gift. I see these people who come into my life as truly a gift to help either teach me something, bring me a new awareness on something, but it's my perception of that. It's not their responsibility to come in my life and teach me. I, with my perception, see it that way, which brings me into gratitude for them. I see them, or I see a situation as a blessing, even though it may look like it's not on the outer surface. There's always something you can find in that experience that will shift it to where you'll find a gratitude in it, and it's in that gratitude that you will lift yourself to a higher level of awareness, a higher level of being, and that is all part of the shift that we're being called to do and to be, is higher frequencies, higher levels of awareness and responsibility for ourselves. When we take responsibility for ourselves, it just changes everything. So please know that if there's anything you're getting out of this talk today, that is what's so powerful and so important. So again, perspective is everything. Your perspective doesn't have to match anybody else's perspective. With all of the different political views, all the different financial institutions, all of the different educational institutions, all of the different ways we can live our lives. Everyone has a different perspective. It's okay. It's living with all of these different perspectives that create that beautiful harmony that I talked about in the last episode, one of the last episodes. It's a harmony that's being created. When you allow everybody to just be, it brings a peace and an understanding that's far beyond anything in this earthly plane. It's all guided spiritually. So this isn't about any one particular religion. This isn't about that at all. It's about opening up to guides and angels that are willing to help spirit world. There's a spirit world happening all around us. Open up to that. If you're just a little bit shy about doing that, just ask to be shown something very small. Start in little increments, and you'll be amazed at what you'll be shown. This has been an amazing episode. I hope by sharing a bit about me and a little bit about the stories that have happened with me and how I'm open to the guidance has brought a new perspective to you and what's possible in your life. It's not about controlling the situation. It's about opening up and allowing it to unfold the way the situations unfolded, the way I just explained to you. So thank you again. Continuously listen and re-listen to the talks that I'm providing, because it's by re-listening over and over again that it goes into the subconscious mind, and it helps you to create new patterns, new ways of being. So again, you can listen to them as you're going to sleep at night, listen to them in the car, on your headphones, download them on your iPad or your iPhone if you have one. It's how I learn. I have my mentors, and I listen over and over and over again until it's ingrained in me to be manifested to the highest and greatest good that is possible. It's my way of learning, and it's my way of teaching, and I hope that you can connect with that if you choose to. And again, listen to it over and over and over again. It will be extremely powerful in your life. So again, this is Marilyn Masseri for Conscious Awakening. You can feel free to visit my website at www.lifeforceenterprises.com for more information. I'd be happy to work with you one-on-one as a consciousness coach. I can do that over the phone. It's very convenient from anywhere. You don't have to personally come to me. We do this all over the phone. It's a wonderful experience. If you're interested in that, there's contact information at the end of this program, also on the website. I'd be happy to give you more information and to talk to you about that. Again, Marilyn Masseri, Life Force Enterprises for Conscious Awakening. Thank you again for tuning in. So very blessed and honored that you did. Namaste.